Hey guys, in today's video we're going to be doing some book review. I am so glad I didn't buy a physical copy of this book because this is something I would not want to have on my shelf. This is one of those guilty pleasure books that you'd read but won't admit that you have read. It's like reading those gossip articles that you are too ashamed to admit but you still do it anyway. This book blew me away in a bad way. This book is not great. I just gotta have some disclaimers. 1, I am not a guy, so I don't know everything. 2, I'm no expert, I'm no relationship expert or whatever, okay? And 3, I did not watch the movie. This review is purely on the book. Alright, so the book is called He's Just Not That Into You, and it's by Greg Behrendt and Liz Tway. I'm sorry, I can't really pronounce names. The first major flaw of the book is that it's written by a comedian guy and an editor who worked on Sex and the City. Do they sound reliable to listen to? Not really, but it's all about the contents of the book. Maybe they have something insightful to add. So how the book works is that it's like reading an extremely long gossip section of those girl-woman magazines where a lot of women send letters or emails to the authors, and the author, Greg, he replies them and gives them answers. So let's go over the good parts of the book first. Generally, the moral of the book is good. Don't settle for a guy that is going to keep you waiting all the time and feeling unsatisfied. If someone's sending you a lot of mixed signals, it probably means that they're not into you. And then sometimes you're in a relationship with someone and they don't put enough effort or other things like that, they're probably not into you. And that's the point of the book. The book is very straightforward and it's a very easy read. But here's another good point. It might not be a good point though. A lot of people were complaining that the book is common sense. Yes, it is quite common sense. But sometimes when a girl is very deluded in a relationship or someone she's invested in, common sense slips past that person. So it's important to have the common sense right in front of your head so that you always make good decisions. The thing is that a lot of people will have a good takeaway from the book. And an example of the good advice he gives is he's not into you if he's having sex with other people. He's not into you if he's cheating on you. He's not into you if he's married. He's not into you if he only wants to see you all drunk or high. He's not into you if he's not dating you. He's not into you if he's breaking up with you. And he's not into you if he ghosted you. So it's very straightforward, very good things. I can see a lot of women out there who really need this reaffirmation that when a guy is giving such mixed signals and not putting effort into you, clearly it just means that you're not worth their time and they're not worth your time either. So you should get out there and find someone who would put in effort into you. And that's the whole moral of the story. Don't bother with people who don't care about you. And that pretty much concludes all the good things I have to say about it. Now for the bad. And oh boy, there's a lot of bad. The book generally frames men as a stereotypical chat alpha guy. That guys would do everything for a woman they love. I'm sorry, okay, this is the part where I'm not sure. Maybe it's true that a lot of guys out there would do anything for a girl. They would hold a grenade for a girl. They would do everything for a girl. It makes sense. If you like someone, you put in effort. Because he thinks that if a guy is into you, he would approach you first and things like that. But what if someone's shy? That's the whole problem. This entire book, it doesn't work if the person you're talking to is shy. The book teaches women to do absolutely nothing and expect guys to do all the work and all the chasing. He says that you should not pursue a guy, you should only be pursued. He also teaches women to expect men to put them as a number one priority all the time. I mean, it's true. If you are in a relationship, you should expect yourself to be a high priority. But oh my god, he has a very black and white thinking of basically he's saying that the entire world should revolve around you, and that is so selfish. How entitled must you be to think this way? In fact, it's hypocritical too. For example, if the guy you're dating or seeing has an alcohol or drug problem, but he really loves you, he will change for you. Everything is chalked up to he's not into you, instead of saying maybe he's not a good person in the first place. You should be dating someone who wants to be a decent person and doesn't change just because he wants to fit you. Why don't you date someone with good morals? And plus, a lot of the problems that's raised in this book isn't about the guy isn't into the girl, but the author says he's just not into you. It's not true. It's not that he's not into you. You two are not compatible in a relationship. The author doesn't go into the root of the issues listed and asked, because to the author, he's just not that into you is the same as a guy who is not ready for a relationship and really needs to go for some counseling and therapy. They're two really different things. Being into someone means you like someone, but sometimes I have so many self-problems that even if I like someone, it just means I'm not ready for a relationship, not that I'm not into them. Holy shit. I don't think this is exclusive for guys only. It goes for girls too. Greg also tends to see things in extremes. A lot of what he expects out of a guy that is into someone is a lot more like looking for someone who's obsessively infatuated with the person than someone who is in love. And he expects it from the very start. Like straight up, when a guy just shows interest in someone, he should be ready to hold a grenade for the person and do everything. Which is crazy. Normal guys don't think this way. He paints guys as a complete other species instead of rational human beings. Some of the the stuff he says straight up doesn't make sense to me. His solution is always to break up with the guy or give up. And I don't think that's how being in a relationship works. You've got to put in effort too. You can't expect men to be the ones always putting in effort and fixing everything and changing himself just to suit yourself. That is so selfish, entitled, and crazy. Think about it. What kind of guy would want to date a woman that's exactly like this? This is the thing. He preaches a woman to be like this, but this is the kind of thing that makes a woman undesirable in the first place. Oh my god. It kind of feels like he's teaching people how to be an entitled Karen. Some of the stuff he says makes absolutely no sense. And here is an example. Someone asked Greg if a guy giving her his number means he's really into her. And his reply was, did he give you control or did he just get you to do the heavy lifting? What he just did was a magic trick. It seems like he gave you control, but he now gets to decide if he wants to go out with you or even return your call. What? I mean, it goes two ways. You can choose not to even call this person. What? So he basically just told her to give up because the guy gave her his number instead of the other way around. Isn't giving someone your number mean that you're interested in talking to them more and being in contact with them in the first place? I guess a businessman giving me his business card means that he doesn't want me to contact him ever. Can you imagine a situation where a guy walks into a bar and he's like, I'm hitting up this girl tonight, things are going great, and I don't want to mess this up, I don't want to come across as creepy, I'm going to give her my number instead of asking for a number, because numbers are a personal thing and you can do all kinds of things with a phone number. Let's hope she calls me later because I've done something that's really considerate because I'm a nice person. And the girl was like, nah, I should drop him because he gave me his number instead of asking for my number. Holy shit! Didn't the guy really take initiative to ask the girl out in a way by giving his number? Some of the other stuff he says is completely wild and it's crazy. It's like he doesn't treat men as human beings anymore. He has no empathy. This is another example. Someone asked Greg that her boyfriend isn't really having sex with her. He's only having sex with her once every other week and she is often the one initiating. What her boyfriend says is that he's stressed about work, but he is still attracted to her. And before he was stressed about work, he told her that it was because his mother recently died and he was too depressed. That's some pretty heavy stuff. But Greg's amazing reply was, if I'm really into somebody, I want to put it in them and then take it out and then put it back in them later on. You can accept his excuses all you want, but is this how you want to live the rest of your sex life? He may be into you, he may not, but the only thing you have to answer is this how you want to feel? Perhaps forever. His mother died? What? Oh my god, his mom is dead. He's stressed about work. He sounds depressed. He probably has depression. But no, your solution when your guy is going through this is to break up with him. This is a very clearly temporary problem that you can work through with your partner and be a good girlfriend. But no, the solution is to break up. What? Why do you have to expect your partner to fix and do everything? This doesn't sound healthy. One of the takeaways of one of the chapters was, men are not afraid of ruining the friendship. Don't get tricked into asking him out. If he likes you, he'll do the asking. But some people are really paranoid and afraid and shy. Fear of rejection is a universal language. Everyone can be afraid of rejection. Don't make it sound like men instantly do not feel afraid of rejection, because they're men, and men, if they really want something, they'll go for it. So I've been mostly talking about Greg, the guy in this book. So let's talk about the co-author, Liz. She makes some good points sometimes, and sometimes her responses to Greg actually make perfect sense, and she's like saying the common sense in my brain that want to ask the guy, because like holy shit, he makes some really blanket statements sometimes. And Liz actually kind of points it out and uses common sense. But each time, she just ultimately ends with, I agree with Greg. Greg is right. Oh no, Liz, you took 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. Oh my god. She also has some really suspicious thoughts and behavior. Like, this doesn't sound like a very nice person. So she says this, I particularly don't like asking a guy where the relationship is going or how he feels about me. Ew. It should be natural and easy and obvious. What? Isn't communication the basis of any kind of relationship? What is happening in this book? Why isn't a lot of this problem solved by, can you just have a clear talk with the person you're interested in or like someone you're dating or married to? Here's another chapter. If a guy is into you, he will want to marry you. And someone asked, I have a boyfriend who I've been living with for 3 years. I'm about to turn 39 and I have started bringing up the idea of long-term plans like marriage. He always seems open to it, but then talks about how bad his finances are. He's an investment banker who works for himself, and he lost a lot of money in the past 2 years and a lot of clients as well, and his business has really gone down the tubes. He says he's under a lot of pressure. Am I unreasonable to want to know where this is all going? And Greg's reply was, definitely do not say a word. Keep very very quiet. Maybe you should even think about moving into another apartment so you'll be out of the way during this oh so important time. Don't forget, he's the most important man in the world and his business is failing, and that means everything to everybody. What the heck are you thinking, lady? He's telling the lady to make the world revolve around her, just like how this guy's business revolves around him. I don't know, it just sounds so hypocritical. Greg's idea is that if a guy isn't willing to put himself into debt because of you to get married with you, he isn't into you. And I'm just, no way. I don't know about you guys or the people watching this video, but I think putting yourself in debt is setting yourself up for a pretty unhappy marriage because of your crippling finances. Isn't finances one of the biggest reasons for divorce in the first place? Greg also basically says that if a guy isn't willing to marry you ASAP, he's not into you, and that doesn't really make sense. Things like getting married within a year is more like aligning your goals with your partner than because he's not into me enough. I'm so confused. Isn't this all just about compatibility, not because he's not into me? There's also some pretty darn baseless things in this book. A lot of this book is written out of a place with absolutely no statistics, research, or just it's based off pure stereotypes. For example, this is one by Liz, quite different. I've been implying this in my here's why this one is hard responses, but now I'm going to come right out with it. There aren't that many good men around. Statistics prove it. Articles and books have been written to verify it, and women would be happy to testify under the oath about it. And here's another one. There are more good women out there than good men. What? Statistics prove it? Where is it? Where are they getting these things from? This is purely anecdotal. Holy shit. Do you just vitalize like 40% of the population or more? And another thing is, at the end of the book, there's a chapter about setting your standards for your future partner, which makes sense. It's fair. You should have good standards, because if you don't have good standards, you end up with a relationship that you're not happy with. So they gave some suggestions for what kinds of standards you can set. And this is the first example they gave. I will not go out with a man who hasn't asked me out first. This entire book just believes in you should not ever bother putting effort in pursuing a guy. They seem to forget a lot that men face a lot of rejection too. There's a lot of testimonies and all the people out there in the reviews saying that, yeah, it's true, when I pursued a guy, it didn't turn out well. It never turns out well. You know, there's a lot of guys out there who, you know, pursuing is a staple of men, and there's so many times guys get rejected from pursuing. Rejection is normal. They're placing the problem in the wrong place. You didn't get rejected because you're pursuing. You're getting rejected because the person is not interested in you. That's the title of the book. He's just not that into you if he rejects you, not because you pursued him. And I'm sure a lot of guys out there would be so happy if a girl was pursuing them just like how they were interested in them too. I've pursued people before. I've gotten rejected and I've been sad because of that. It's because it's normal. I can't expect, because I'm a girl and like stuff like that and I'm doing something different, that you expect things to go your way all the time. If a guy pursued me and I wasn't interested, then for the guy, is it to tell him to never pursue anyone and wait for a girl to pursue him instead? Because he's only worth people who are into him, who will go after him? Then nobody will get together anymore in the world. So he's actually confessed to me first. And the thing is that before he confessed, I was already thinking about confessing to him. It literally would not have made any difference who confessed first. We both literally felt the same way. And this is the whole point on basis of relationships. If I don't ever message a friend sometimes first, wouldn't they think that maybe I don't really want to be friends with them? Isn't this the same way with relationships or pursuing or dating? If I don't put in some effort to like chase back, nothing's gonna happen. The point of the book is that they tell you to be open to being pursued and don't bother dealing with low quality men because they don't put enough effort, they don't make you happy. These are all very normal advice. I can see how like 60% of this book would help someone out there. It has some good advice, which can be quite common sense to be honest. But other than that, whoa, this book is toxic. This is sexist towards guys. It has a pretty mean stereotype and it teaches you how to be so entitled and to be a kind of person that people don't want to be around. And so, all in all, I give this book a 3 out of 10. And yeah, so that's it about my review of this book. He's just not into you. It's pretty terrible. Thanks for watching.